think credit has to be given to devices that came into the space and established the concept that mechanical thrombectomy could be a safe and effective therapy for these patients. And I think endovascular engineering's Hēlo catheter certainly falls into that group of devices. I think it's great for patients, great for operators.
The temptation is to go as fast as you can to get to market, and E2 took the time to start with a feasibility study, bring in thoughtful leaders, and then take the device and iterate it.
We need to define critics, because if you can't iterate and improve, then the questions that are asked of us in the long term, which is, can this be applied to a huge population of people, answer those early and fix them.
Challenges enrolling a PE study, it's different than other kinds of studies. It's an emergency procedure. You need to be ready to take care of patients immediately, so it requires a lot of logistics.
We decided to do a feasibility study with 25 patients in the US with enough physicians that could get their hand on this and tell us, is this working the way it should be working?
I found endovascular engineering unique because they frankly were willing to engage with the concept of starting with a pilot trial. And why did I feel that a pilot trial was so important? The concept that a first-in-human experience sometimes is the most informative experience you can ever have.
When I joined the company, we were just on the cusp of introducing into our clinical trial our Gen 2 device, which is rare. We saw evolution in terms of procedure times, in terms of physician satisfaction, a number of different levels by introducing Gen 2. And we took that through part of the clinical trial, and then we were able to introduce the blood return system into the clinical trial, which we again saw further evolution, which is just amazing to see from a team perspective and from a speed of innovation perspective.
It taught us a lot of things about what we needed to improve. I love that the physicians that work with us now talk about how much they really enjoyed and respected and appreciate our journey, which is who we want to be, to assess this technology and environment that took us more time, took more money. This was a high bar.
You're trying to create a device that impacts patients safely and effectively. The engineers did their homework as they thought through this. Goes in small but acts big. Guided angiographically. Regular hemodynamic monitoring as we're doing a case. Getting into clot that's a little more densely adherent and that might be a variant constituency, and then not having tremendous amounts of blood loss. It's ostensibly looking at a third generation device, despite the fact that it hasn't even presented its IDE data yet. That's kind of an amazing thing when you think about it. And that all comes down to strategy that was planned up front, not to try to zoom through an IDE trial, but to try to iterate as the IDE trial is actually happening.